Hello, everybody, and welcome back to video 31 or 32 in this set. I'm preparing some lecture notes for a summer camp with high schoolers teaching them game dev, and I was hoping to do this in 28 videos. So 28, about 15-minute videos would be 7.5 hours, 7 hours, so about half of the time that I'll have for 3 hours a day for 5 days. Looks like we went over that, so this is going to have to be cut. I'll have to shorten the example or um, edit it some, but I figured I'd go ahead and finish this since and I decided that instead of deleting making the videos, editing my lecture notes, and deleting the videos, I'd go ahead and just share the videos and not delete them in case other people are interested in this. And it's going to be a little bit long for my lecture notes, but uh, not very long because we're getting close to the end of what I was wanting to get done. Uh, I think it'll be more like 8.5 or 9 hours instead of the 7 hours I was looking for in just this part. And then that way there's still some time for a little lab in the classroom with the high schoolers, but still going to have to be abbreviated some. But we've been moving along, and in the previous one, we brought in our little alien character, the ones we're going to run around and beat up with a stick. There's been a lot going on, so this is way into the series. And now we're ready to update our character because we got that moving earlier and stuff, but we did not have at the time, all we had was the walk and the idle animation. We didn't have the storyline yet for what the action was going to happen. So a new asset was created. So character version 2 here has a hit animation, which doesn't need to loop. You only run through that once. Then the same idle and same walk animation, which those will need to be set to looping. And hopefully all this is looking familiar from previous videos. That's a big part of this is that everything in this video is stuff we've done before. This one could almost have been skipped. So we've got to have a new animation that needs to replace our earlier character. So I'm just going to come up here and delete the character. So we split up our character when we made it before I delete it. We have the sort of a container body, which is a kinematic body, or Godot calls it a character body, which holds all our logic and the script is attached to. And a child of that is the mesh and the model that we created in Blender that includes the mesh, the skeleton, which handles the animations, and the data organizations of the player. We also split it up so there's the physical collision layer, and then the camera representing the rendering pipeline, and all the different components of a game engine right in here. And to update our character, all we need to do is delete the original graphics, delete that, and bring our new one in as a child. And then I'm going to drag it up to the top of the list so it's still in the same order. And right click and go to editable children. So nothing new here. If we go to animation tree, notice we deleted the parent of the animation player that held all those animations. So we do need to reassign the new one. Now things should still kind of work like they did before. Set that to active. And we still have our idle animation, still have our walking animation. And the difference is now we have this stick, so we can add in that hit animation. If we run that, kind of see what that looks like. That only needs to run one time. But we'll need transitions from our other ones, which again is something we've seen before. So from idle, we can go into the hitting. And we'll do that when a boolean called is hitting is true. If we're currently walking, we'll go into the hitting animation, and again we'll do that when is hitting is true. And after we're finished hitting, we'll go right back in. We want to make sure and switch. We want to finish our hitting animation, so we need to set a new transition. To go into hitting is going to happen immediately whenever this boolean becomes true. And to go back to say walking, we'll do that when the is walking variable becomes true. And when we switch this time, we want to make sure and finish our hitting animation before we switch back. And same thing for idling. After we're finished hitting and go back to idling, we'll do that when is idle is true. And we want to make sure and finish the animation before switching back. So that gets our animation controls. It's looking a little cluttered there. I'm going to spread this out a little. There we go. A little organization goes a long way. So we can jump between all of our animations, and now we just need our character to do that at the appropriate time in the script. Which, well, we created a jump control and forward, backwards, turn left, turn right, sort of yaw, pitch, and roll movement, but really only just the yaw part of it. And then a jump animation, a jump control, which right now a hitting's the only action we're going to have, but this game might grow into something after the rough draft that's going to make it in the video, so I don't want to get rid of the jump animation. Maybe at some point later could add it in so that we could also jump on the aliens instead of hitting them, sort of Mario style. So we need another control, which is something we've seen before. If we go to project settings, in our input map, we could use one of the built-in ones. We could just explicitly put in our code a key press, but it's much better to go to an input manager. If I turn the input ones back on, because if we create a new input action, we can set it up for multiple things and multiple devices. So for plug and play controllers, or we can map a very specific controller to it, or we can use a keyboard, buttons on our keyboard, and we have more control over this, and we're not as restricted as if we just said maybe hit the, like on forward, where hit the W key, we hit our forward action, and then we can map lots of different controllers to have a forward button on them. So we need a new action. I'll call it hit. Hitting. That'll work. And we'll add a control to it, and it's listening for input. I'm going to go with the right shift button. Looks like it used both shifts, so I'll just use the shift or shift physical or shift Unicode. I guess either shift button will work for the hit button. There should be a way to split that up, but that's something I'd have to go look up. I don't regularly use the shift key, but I know that's one of the common ones, so I'll just go with that. And that also answers an important question I had as far as preparing the lecture notes. I've never split up determining whether it's the right or left shift key in Godot before, so I have to look something up. And I think we're in video 32. So I made it to 32 up to the 32nd, approximate 15-minute videos before I hit a spot I'd have to go look up, which means I think I'll feel fairly comfortable using Godot for that summer camp with the teenagers. So we got our new action. So now we just need to listen for it the same way we listen for the jump, the forward or backward. Hitting's only going to happen once, so I think I'll do it kind of like the jump action. And when that happens, we'll just switch to the hitting animation, check to see if the alien's there, and if it is, then we'll do some stuff. So we need to check to see if the alien's there. And again, we don't have to introduce anything new in order to do this. If we come back over to the character, we can do the same thing we did with the alien, only we'll do it in two parts. So we put this raycast on the alien, just basically looking a little less than a meter right in front of it to see if the character's there, and that's when the alien grabs. So we can do the same thing with the player. We can add a raycast, add a child, look for raycast 3D, add a raycast 3D, which by default is heading 1 in the Y direction. I want to look in front, so 1 in the Z direction. I think it's in the right spot. If I move it up. Why do I not see that? Okay. Oh, it is pointing in the right direction. I couldn't see it there. So maybe a 0.75 in the Z direction, and I'll move it up, oh, right about the middle of the character. Actually, the aliens are short, so I'm going to leave it down here by the knees. Make sure there's an alien right in front of us. 1 meter. If I switch to this, there we go. Can probably go further than that. Raycast, let's say 1.3 meters. And what I'm looking at here is the length of the stick. Does it look like we're going to be long enough to hit the alien if it's standing right there? That might be too long, so I'll back that off a little. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to double click on that, but I'll take the opportunity to go ahead and rename it. 1.1, 1.2. And comparing that to the length of the stick, looks like a good length as far as hitting the aliens there. So we'll do 2 parts on this instead of 1 like we did with the alien. So I'm going to come back over to the script, and I'm going to add a Boolean in the code to keep track of. So somewhere up here, create a new Boolean, is hitting. The computer will never confuse this with the is hitting variable in the animation tree. It only looks the same to us, and since the computer will never get confused, it's probably useful to have the same thing there. That's going to be Boolean type of data, and I'll start by setting it false, so is hitting is false, and then that's what will happen when we hit our input key. So if input.isAction just pressed, because like jump, we only want to hit it once. With the movement, we want to hold it down, but we don't want to hold down the jump. We'll go ahead and switch is hitting to true. Is hitting goes to true. Why is that highlighted? Oh, I have to say which one, and that was called hitting. If the hitting in action has just been pressed, we'll set this to true, and I'll do it after the movement. So after we do the move controls, then we can check that and see if, well, I'll leave a little white space, but I want it to match the indentation. The scripting language here is based off Python, so indentation matters. Sorry for the sudden break in flow here, but when I recorded this video, I did it in one sitting and never glanced down and looked at the clock on my recording software, and it took 26 minutes. So I needed some edit scenes to split this in 2. So in the next video, we'll finish this up. Sorry about the break and flow, but yeah, 26 minutes is way too long of a video here for this. So I need to split it up and figured out how to add a couple edit scenes in instead of just cutting it in the middle. I will see you in the next video, and then we'll finish this character attacking the alien.